is here. It's Debbie from Free Birth Spirit.
So good to be here.
A good friend, a bestie to the channel. I'm so glad that you're here, Debbie. And I want to first kind of have you talk a little bit about yourself for anyone who may be new to who you are and what you do. And just kind of go back and just give us a little, and hello everyone in the chat. I can see you, Michelle.
So good to see everyone.
Artist Liz and all our friends. The gang's all here, as we say.
The gang's all here. I love it. And and y'all can still see me. I have to do something really quick. I'm streaming to my channel too, so I just want to make sure here. But it's really, Kim, I'm just so excited to be here with you. It's been a minute. And it's like coming home, right? And just your energy and being able to do this with you is special. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. And, it's, go ahead, Debbie.
I did. It's all done.
Kind of a little bit, just kind of a short version of your, where you have developed your gifts, or were you born with them, and kind of what brings you to this point.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, look at, we've got everybody here. Hi, Kevin. Hi, Kevin. All right. So, I do believe that I came in with some natural abilities and gifts in regard to this intuitive thing that we all do. We all come in with the ability to tap in, receive messages, tap into our higher selves, or receive messages from loved ones. We all can do that. Some come in with a little bit more natural ability or energy towards it. And I do believe that I came in that way. So for me, from very early, from first memories, being able to, I would know things. I would know when people were going to die, or I would also see spirit, and but I didn't have language for it, so it turned mostly into fear and anxiety until I was able to wrap my mind around what was happening and bring language to it. But that's kind of where I started. And then I also was one of those folks that was always pursuing spiritual. So anything spiritual, anything that would help me connect and feel at home. Because I feel like we're always seeking that rest in being in spirit and being at home, that feeling. Do you know what I mean by that, Kim?
Yes, I do. Yeah, absolutely.
And so, early days, it would be maybe like in worship, like worship songs and stuff like that would just take me to those levels of angelic realms and home.
Right.
And so always seeking that and seeking more, because I knew that we could have a communication. I knew that we could have this relationship while here in this density and get that help and assistance we needed. So I was always seeking that. And then here we are today. It's developed into here, but it's had a journey getting here for sure.
And can you tell people what was the catalyst for starting your YouTube channel?
Yeah. So,
because it's one thing to practice this stuff in the quiet of your own community, in your own whatever, your own world, but to put yourself out there is something completely different.
And it is a big deal, you guys, to come, especially for Kim and I, because we're introverts. We're more introverted, and so to put yourself out here was a big deal, and it was a big deal for me. I had to get over a lot, but in 2006, 2015, I had a shift in my job. My traditional work, Spirit kind of took me to the end of that, and it was very evident that I needed to make some changes in my life. And so I made some big changes in 2016, moving away from my home that I've always known in San Diego, and leaving my traditional work that I had been doing for 38 years. And so, it was evident that I still needed to continue to work. And I thought, well, I'm doing this anyways, kind of on the side, all the spiritual stuff and the channeling and the all that. And so I thought, well, maybe I would dive into that more, and started a channel, just kind of doing traveling tarot card of the day or more spirit messages. And no one really cared about that. I had 2 followers, you know what I mean? And so I think it was 2016, at the end of 2016, maybe the 2017-ish, I started doing political readings. And then of course the channel grew, but I did it in order to connect to community, as well as we didn't really have the opportunity to put our name in like the penny saver anymore, to get our name out there for folks who might want a reading or something.
Right.
So I thought this was the way to create community and advertise that there was an option here for a reading or whatever back in the day. So
did you have an interest or a affinity for politics before you started reading on it? Did you? Because I really have always, in the past, I've always really liked politics and enjoyed kind of what, times when we vote and listening to issues and stuff. It was very different when I got involved in politics back in the 90s. But have you always had an interest, or were you interested in politics?
A little bit in high school. So in the 70s, early 80s, I had some interest, from political science and all those classes you take, and then a little bit in college there. But then it kind of just, life happened, and I just kind of was going along. But then 45 came in. When Trump started running, I thought that's when it kind of sparked back up, because I thought, what is going on here?
Right.
And so that's kind of what sparked my interest again back into it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, and it came for different people in different ways, but felt the call to kind of help communities, help people understand what was going on, not just from this earthly level and giving those predictions, but from a bigger kind of spiritual perspective.
Yes, 100%. And I like that you said that too, Kim, because it's like part of I feel like as messengers, what we're here to do is bring the higher perspective message along with, yes, we're in this density, but how can we tap into that higher message and really create and manifest from there through this density?
Right. Yeah. And I think that the level of awakening that has been happening at such a fast clip, right? It's been, I think, even more important to kind of to try to give understanding, and also get understanding ourselves from our own guides, like what is happening here and where are we going, and then to share that, right?
Yes.
I want to just pause just for a second, because Lisa Foster is just killing it as as a moderator.
She is.
And I encourage anyone with a wrench to be on the Trill Patrol. We don't usually have that very much on Sunday, but it can happen. So just thank you to the moderators real quick. I really appreciate it. So I want to ask this, and I'll give a trigger warning for this, because usually this show is not really it doesn't really have to do with politics. It comes up because it's our world, it's the world we're living in and things are happening. Mm-hmm. But it's just a trigger warning, just in case you're like, I am not doing politics at all. We're going to talk a little bit about it. But just in terms of what was your experience and feelings as a reader, but also just as a regular person when the election happened? What happened internally? What went on with you? Because I know I had a big existential crisis. I don't know what happened. Yeah. I think a lot of readers did, but what was your experience?
Oh, yeah, 100%. It was, first I'll go in as just regular old me, right? Mm-hmm. And during a couple leading up to it, a couple days, I started getting some shadow thoughts in regard to the election. And I didn't, it's very similar to having a knowing that someone's going to pass or going to die, but you don't want to share that with the family because you don't want them to lose hope because they're holding on to hope. Yeah. And so I had some shadow things drop in, and I'm like, well, okay. So I just prayed. I didn't want to bring it in. I didn't want to talk about it because I didn't want to bring it into reality. So it was just I was kind of leaving it there. But on the day of the election, there was a clear moment where dread set in, and that was before they even started counting. Mm-hmm. And I started to go into, I felt I was sick. I felt panic. I didn't want to watch the results coming. I didn't want to watch the counting. I didn't want to have anything. I just wanted to get away from it as far as possible. And so I just because my partner wanted to watch, I just put on headphones and went and just closed my eyes and went to sleep. Woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning, 3, 4 in the morning. I don't remember what time. Woke up, didn't even look at anything, but knew. Like I just thought, this is not the timeline that I went to bed on. This is not the timeline I was on yesterday. Something has shifted. Like I felt like I had something happened and we were no longer on the trajectory we were. Like it was the weirdest thing. And then I went back to sleep. Anyways, I went through everything that everybody else did. I grieved. I was sad. I was shaken. I would cry at the drop of a hat. All those things. I went through it and it's very similar to someone who's been in shock, and you're in shock and the whole thing. But I went through all of it. And then moved into a place of kind of like a more of a peaceful place, mm-hmm. where it's like, okay, so there's a higher, I stepped into my higher mind, right, in regard to it, to take a look and go from that place. But I can tell you, I no longer watch the news. I don't read it and I don't watch it. Yeah. It no longer serves me at any level. I feel that it doesn't, you know how when you have upgrades in your own frequency and sometimes you lose friends and it just means that there's no longer fit. The frequency is not, the vibration is no longer this fit. And that's the same with the news. It just doesn't equate with where I'm at and where I'm going. So that's kind of how I went through it.
And what about as a reader? What did you What did you make of it? And how did you talk to your team? And how did you get through that as a reader?
Right. So when I would talk to my team, because at first I'm like, what the, and they said, well, you got it right. I truly feel that Harris Walls did win. However, they were hijacked. That's my take. That's what they showed me, and they literally showed me a hijacking. And so in that way, and then I kind of reevaluated maybe some of the things that they had shown me or like that beforehand, and maybe just not interpreting correctly, like, yes, she's going to win, but look at these other cards that are coming out as well with this, like that. So not maybe seeing, I not choosing to see maybe some of I knew it was going to get wonky, but I didn't know it was going to be this wonky. Like I would say, you guys, this is not going to be easy. Like it's not going to be, but yeah, just maybe when I reevaluating some of the interpretations of what I was getting.
And I think though you're talking about that eternal struggle that the reader has, especially in this kind of format of what do you share and what do you not share, because you regularly get at least I guess I can speak for myself as a reader, but I know a lot of readers get, like you said, kind of that shadow side, like, this is a possibility, but this is more likely. You kind of get that feeling and you kind of go, and I think depending on too, your own personality, you don't want to put out that negative stuff. You don't want to feed it. You don't want to.
Exactly.
And so it's that you're constantly in that, what should I share? What should I not share? Because you don't want to be like, well, you guys, there is a big possibility that they're going to hijack this. It's going to be cheap. You don't want to like put that out there and have everyone start worrying about it. And then that energy is big, right?
Right. So there's a huge responsibility, you guys, on us that we don't want to spread fear and chaos, right? And so you're right. But I can tell you, Kim, that since that experience, since then, anytime I read on something, I'm no longer hiding that part. It's like, you know what? I'm just going to, we're in this together. You know what I mean? We're in this together. I'm going to show you, all sides to this.
Right.
But beforehand, you're right. You don't want to create fear or like, change the, anyways.
Yeah. Changing that energy.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody was asking, I can't go back. It's too far up, but they were asking about, is there a timeline where she won? Is there a space where she won? And why aren't we in it? Why are we here?
Yeah. That's a great question. I do feel like there is. I feel like, and it feels really good. But for some reason that, we all of us warriors here decided to kind of straddle this timeline to help out. Yeah. I don't know. It's a good question.
It is a good question.
So she did win. I know she did. Yeah. But one where she wasn't hijacked.
Right. One thing that I talked about in a video that I just wanted to get your take on was that they showed that, had Kamala, won, and I also, Yeah, I don't know. Another question I have is kind of like, why they didn't fight harder? Because I know that it's for entertainment purposes only. I know it was stolen, and it was stolen in a not so like it's the stealing part is findable. You can see it. It's not like it was very well hidden. So I feel like if they even looked for a second, they would know. And I do feel like is this understanding that this was what happened, but I feel an unwillingness to dig in. For some reason, I feel like they're not willing to go into it. And I even feel it with like our justice system and stuff like that. They're not willing to go into the weeds. Do you have any understanding or theories as to why they would just kind of hand it over? Do you have any theories about that, or why that would be? If just maybe just to show this is an example of how we hand over power gracefully. I mean, what do you think?
Well,
what does your team say?
okay, just checking in with them. I do sense that there is something behind the scenes going on. I don't feel that there. I think you're talking about the night of, when they just kind of like they started calling the states really fast without even, you know what I mean? And it was almost like a surrender really quickly.
Yeah.
It's also happening with senators and stuff, people who are running in their individual states, where it's almost evident that they are actually going to win, but then they concede before it's even done counting. I mean, it's very, very strange.
All very weird.
Yeah. And so know that when something is so strange, my team has always told me this for years, when something is so confounding, there's a higher purpose to it. So in this situation, there's something else behind the scenes, I feel, that's going on. That at this trajectory, when I read on it on Friday, I think it was Friday, we read on it, something swiftly is coming in, where we're going to, something, when it happens, it's going to happen quick, where it's almost like you have to, when the Secret Service raids the house, you can't tell people what you're doing, or how you've been planning to do this. They just have to surprise you. And that's kind of what's happening with all of this, I feel. Now, to be clear, I'm not sure if it means what that, like, I don't know if it means when they do that, because I haven't read on that. I haven't sat in that. I just know that it's not complete. There's something going to happen. I just am unclear on how because this is kind of all new. We don't have a reference to pull from.
Yeah.
To kind of show us what would be the next, how would this work? I do feel that what once was with our two systems, I feel like there's a huge shift in that.
Yeah.
So they might come forward with, because I think there's so many things that's stopping them. They don't want people to be afraid of our voting system, that it doesn't work. Well, it doesn't work. We all know it doesn't work. It hasn't worked for, you know what I mean?
Right.
So our system is broken anyway. So let's redo it. Let's revamp it and make it so it's foolproof or whatever. We have to do that. So, and know that you have people like Liz Cheney, you have people who love this country, and Kamala and all of that whole team. They are feeling the same things we are. They're not going to, they're not just sitting back and allowing the country to be hijacked.
Right.
They are doing what they can do behind the scenes to fight and hold on to democracy.
Right.
Everyone, they all warned us this was a fight for democracy.
Right.
They understand what's at stake here. And then they're watching him put these people in the cabinets or whatever in their seats, seating all these horrific choices.
Right.
Run this country. They know the cost more than any of us. And so, and whatever we can think of, know that they've already thought of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, it's not that we're just we're figuring this out and we're like, aren't they figuring this? Yes, they are. They're a step ahead of us. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out. I did a deep dive today on AOC, and I found it very interesting on how she's feeling. I looked what she would feel like in March. So I do feel that things will be so much more clear soon.
Good.
Soon. I don't know if I answered your question.
No, you did. I just the last question on this topic is just, I saw that, and like I said, I did this video where my guys said, we can, if we went the Kamala route, if that happens, it's a longer kind of route to get to where we're kind of supposed to go with the country, but it's a longer route, but it's a gentler route. With the Trump thing, we're still going to get there, but it's going to be fast and it's going to be hard.
Yes.
And I felt like the get there part, the part we're getting to, is the ending of these systems that are not working for anyone anymore. Yes. The idea that, no one's above the law. We know that's not true. That
right.
They said, how many millionaires are sitting on death row?
Right.
None. We also know, all of these other, just the inequality, that the vast, money inequality, the idea that if you work hard, you get ahead. That's not true. Because like I said, the laziest people I know are billionaires, and the hardest working people I know are immigrants. So that's not true. So we need to, there's going to be systems crumbling. Our healthcare system has been broken for a long time. Our money system has been, up and down for a long time. Old systems need to crumble. And even our old prejudices against, with misogyny and racism and sexism and this, going after these vulnerable communities and things. I feel like all of this stuff just has to come like sort of tumbling down so we can rebuild again in a more enlightened way, really. In an enlightened way. What do you think about that? Or have you gotten similar things to that?
Similar things, yes, very much so. That and I like how you said, that would have been the easier, the more easier route with Kamala in place. It would have taken a little longer to get there. It would have been a little bit more gentle for us. And with 45, like you said, it's going to be harder, but faster. And that's kind of the messages I started getting when I was telling you about those few days before the election.
Yeah.
Kind of getting similar messages that that it had to get worse before it could get better. But it would be kind of like a tower, where it's just tower, everything falls in place, and then it's a rebuild. So, yeah, yucky. Don't like tower moments, but it always brings in that positive change. And that's one thing that my spirit team has continually said, that, hold on, no matter what it looks like, it's going to be okay. You're on the right trajectory.
Right.
It's just it's going to look a little different getting there, right? And that's kind of what that's what I've been getting and continue to receive after.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was very interesting, Debbie, and you kind of talked, it happened with you and it happened with me, that this time around, unlike 2016, where it was just this fight came in. We're not going to let this happen. We're going to, no. We're in this to fight you. That was 2016. And this time it's very interesting that it seems like this side, or the people that did not vote for this person, they've turned off the news. They have kind of pulled away from people that are involved in that movement, even family. They've kind of pulled away. They've turned their back in a way to what is going to be happening. It's kind of like, then you do that. We're going to go and do something positive over here. And I always think the positive we're probably going to do is helping all of the vulnerable communities, building bridges so people can get help and have access to help and access to healthcare and safety and things like that. That we'll all be kind of doing that while this is going on. But it was interesting to see that the difference in the reaction was just like, oh, okay, you want that? Well, we're done. We're not doing that. So you go ahead and do that. We're not doing that again. But I thought it was so interesting. And it was also, again, a more enlightened reaction, because what you resist persists, right? And we moved into a place of not really, it was acceptance, but it was also, but we're not going to engage.
The engagement.
Right? It was interesting, right?
Yeah, very different. And I do want to kind of backtrack just a little bit here on what you just said about resisting. I think resisting is okay. I think it's different than what we did in 2016, for sure. Right. But now it's
resistance. I don't mean give up. I just mean that type of like fight, that kind of resistance.
Right. Yeah. And so it looks very different.
Yeah.
You rise. I mean, I change. I mean, on my Facebook, I changed my profile picture and everything because I was just like, I'm going to stand in my power. And my power is from a place of love, yet I'm going to stand, rise and resist was what my spirit team gave to me. Rise and resist. And it wasn't from a place of, but it was just in myself, in my own power, and not engaging, like you said, kind of pulling away. Like I have a couple family members that it's just like one more out of their perception is so closed off, and then but the other, their eyes are wide open. They don't like 45. They don't like anything he stands for, but he would be better for their company. They voted for him with their eyes wide open, and that hurt me more than the other because, of everything that I stand for and who I am personally. It felt very personal to me, and then personal to all this whole family, and you and I have been standing in the gap for the marginalized communities and for equality at so many levels. And for those who, when you have a predator in office now, standing in the gap for those who have been violated and hurt by and assaulted, you now have them in a very vulnerable place. So I don't know. Kim, you got me.
Well, and I think that's it though, right? It's that you don't want to move into fear because that's you don't want to bring that in, right? You want to, but I also think, decide what part you are going to play. And I thought for me, it's helping. I just want to be a helper. I want to be the helper. Like the Mr. Rogers, look for the helpers. I want to be a helper.
Right.
That's where I want to put my energy. And but I also have this hope, and I also have seen this image, this picture, that what is going to happen is a lot of the people that voted for this, they voted for some things, but not a lot of the things they're going to do. So when that starts to roll in, we're all going to come together and say no. And that is kind of the rebuilding of, but like I said, it's going to be a more tumultuous kind of like way of getting there. But we will, whether it was going to be through that long, kind of more gentler, happier way, or this short kind of more crazy way, we're all going to come back together, because that's the point. Because we need to help the earth. We need to help each other, and we need to help the earth to sustain life, to make sure we're able to continue the earth plane. And that's the point. So either way, we're going to get there. Do you agree with that?
I do. 100%. Either way, they said we're on the right trajectory.
Right.
And they also just reminded me, it's not a mistake that our star family is coming in right now in a strong, present way.
Right.
And so that's not a mistake. That's not like a coincidence, I should say. It's not a coincidence that's all happening at the same time.
Right. And I just wanted to acknowledge the chat, because there's a lot of chat going on. It's bringing up a lot for people. And
of course,
yeah. But I do appreciate the conversation, because I think it's, you can't ignore what's going on. It's happening. So I think it's good to talk about it. I want to switch gears though, and kind of talk about, because I wanted to have you on to talk about mediumship, but I knew we'd have to hit the political stuff first, because we haven't talked since this happened. So it's like, oh, what did you think? Oh my gosh. But yeah, as people are saying, like, the star family's here, there is a feeling of, and this is maybe you can talk about this on a mediumship level, is there is this feeling of everybody's here. Like, you have guides around you like never before, angels around you like never before, and the earth has attention and love, and everybody's here. It's like we are not alone in any capacity, whether you're talking about ETs or you're talking about angels or guides or loved ones, especially ancestors. I feel a lot of ancestors around all the time.
Oh my gosh.
And I think it's because we are moving into this difficult work of looking at racism and where it stems from, looking at sexism and where it stems from, and all of these women who work so hard for women's rights, and all of these people that work so hard for civil rights. I feel they're all of their energy just here. Have you had those moments of, wow, this is overwhelming? But I have had those moments. I'm like, we are not by any means alone. It is like full forces are here. So talk a little bit about
100%. And on Friday, in the chat, someone asked to channel Pocahontas on Friday, and so that was interesting because it was Native American Heritage Day, and so they asked to, and she spoke to that. She spoke to basically sexism, racism at a certain level, but it was. I have to go back and watch it, because when I'm channeling, I don't always remember, but I do remember how it felt, and I felt empowered, and that she was bringing in an empowered message for women. So that's interesting, and I do feel we're going to get more and more of that, and I do feel extra surrounded by our, like you said, those who have gone before us. And our ancestors and all of that. we're at the point right now where we're literally ready to, we're birthing something. We are
Yes.
in the pushing stages. And it can be some of the most painful part of birthing something is right when, and I don't mean to get graphic, but right when that baby's in that birth canal, that can be the most painful part of birthing. But on the other end of that is amazing. But I feel like we're right in those birthing pains.
I think that's a great analogy, because I think that's exactly right. And when you, and also that birth, right? It brings out new life, right? And so I think there is going to be a lot of these kind of breakthroughs and understandings, and the enlightenment of just people is going to be off the charts. We will never have seen, besides maybe COVID, that type of awakening all at once. I just feel like this is what we're headed towards. And it's just going to be like you said, it's like we're in, and I think the birth canal is a great analogy, because it is like we're kind of in the dark in a way. Mm-hmm. It's like, is there ever going to be light? Are we just stuck? Is this where we are now? Is this just where we're stuck? But it's like, no, we're moving through something.
Yes, we're always moving forward, you guys. Always. We're always in the trajectory of awakening and moving towards that collective conscious living that we're always ascending, right? We're always moving.
Right.
And for those of you who are opening up are moving towards and embracing your abilities and your giftings, and mediumship is one of those. You may be recognizing that you are dreaming more. So, and dreaming of loved ones. You also may be experiencing when you are just waking up, hearing voices talking. You may be feeling taps on your shoulders or on your arm. You may start experiencing that more and more. Your spirit team is kind of awakening you a little bit more and faster right now because of where we're at, and the veil is so much thinner, and the need for all of us to engage this way. Another ability that they are showing me is telepathy is going to be a big one. So growing your ability to communicate without speaking, but be able to send messages back and forth. And of course, the one that Kim is so good at, and that's the empathy, the feeling. So all these are super important as we move forward. Be aware.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I see some people are in the chat and saying, I can't feel it. I feel like scared. And if you can't feel it, sit in stillness for a couple minutes and ask to feel it. Ask your guides and loved ones to come towards you, and surround you, and you'll feel something. For even if it's for just a moment, you'll feel as though you aren't alone, and that you are a part of something bigger.
Yes, it's
always
that sense of there's someone in the room with me.
And yes,
there's no one here. T-Bar,
I was going to say being watched, but that's not very comforting. Of people observing,
They're observing. T-Barb said that she just got home and her lights were lights came on in her house, and so that's interesting. Where they, loved ones will mess with your lights and stuff. They're trying to get your attention. Now is the time, you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's for us to, and they will do whatever they have to get your attention. They'll say the right thing that comes from a friend or a family member, but it's also up to us to be alert, like to be aware of what's around us and kind of be in the moment so that we notice the signs or the symbols or the messages or things coming in, right?
And they're very gentle. If you're not comfortable with mediumship, they're not going to push that on you. I'm just saying, for those of you who are, now's the time. But it is important because there's so many ways to communicate with each other besides chit-chatting out loud, talking or writing. There's so many ways to communicate, whether it's sending just love from your heart space out, if it's just sending a thought. Those are other ways to communicate that our spirit teams are wanting us to do. We're moving into that time where that's going to be important.
Right. And Debbie, so I just wanted to touch on too, we had Lizanne on a few weeks ago talking about her time at Arthur Finley. Yeah. And she took kind of a spirit art course and, and you went there and did you study mediumship? Is that what you went to study?
Yes, it was, I went with Kevin, healing medium as well. And we took the class that was, I think it was called, mediumship, prophecy, and I forget the whole name, but something prophecy, mediumship. Yes, but it was a mediumship class. And
yeah, go ahead.
And Lizanne was there. She was my roomie. And I miss her because we had such a good time. She's the best roomie ever, you guys. So if she's
I was your roomie too. Me.
Fantastic. You and Lizanne are the best roomies ever. Yeah.
We're tied. You touched my ego. I was like,
what? Wait a minute. That's right. So
how was that? And what did it? Did it?
Okay, first of all,
bring you up or not?
Yeah. So the going on site was phenomenal because as soon as you get there, I'm sitting there in this old Arthur Finley College. It was like going to Harry Potter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You walk in and the books. I mean, it's just the whole thing, you guys. It very much is like a great place to learn this stuff because you can't help but not. You're in it, and you can feel spirit, floating around you, ancestors. You can feel them all, and you can. And so, the first day I get there, and I'm sitting there, and I look, I'm like, and I see this man walking, in the gardens, and I thought, and I'm looking around, I'm like, thinking he should be in with us, and I think I turned to Kevin and I'm like, do you see that guy out in the garden? And he didn't see. It happened to be the guy who started the call. He was dead. He wasn't really there, but I was seeing him embodied walking in the garden towards where we were all sitting in the chapel thing. He's like, come with me. And he took me and he showed me, we went into this library and all these pictures. And he's like, is that who you saw? And I'm like, that's him. And he's like, oh, that's the guy who started. And I'm like, oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that was the beginning of Keep Kamala and Carry Onala.
Oh, I love that.
Anyway, so so that's kind of the beginning of it. And we were split up into different classes, and then had a week of intense kind of workshops every day, and then came together as a big group a couple times a day and all that. So it was intense. If you go there, you know that you will be put on the spot. Like you can't just sit back and just kind of view it all. You will be put on the spot in front of folks to do the work and the practice.
And how, as an introvert and as
it's very hard.
Yeah, how was that? And did you ever feel like, what am I doing here? Because,
oh yeah.
I mean, of course you want to be there. Obviously, you want to be there, and what an amazing experience and opportunity. But how did that land with you as just an,
Well, I just knew that this is an opportunity, and it doesn't matter. Like who cares? No, none of these people care about me. Like in 2 weeks, they're not even going to remember me, so it doesn't matter, right? I had to really work through that kind of thing. Like, okay, I am an introvert. That's okay. I'm going to find some downtimes and make sure I restore and, like that, and take care of myself that way. But if I'm called upon, then I will gladly just get up and practice. This is what I'm here for, is to grow and be pushed. And you definitely will grow and be pushed there for sure. There was some, interesting. Some of the challenges are, I did a platform reading where you get up and you do like you would a platform. So you're up on stage.
Right.
And English as a second language for a lot of folks. So mostly there wasn't very many English as first language folks there.
Wow. Okay.
So the language barrier was a little challenging. So getting through that was probably my hardest thing. And so, yeah. But it was all good. But it's hard.
Seeing other mediums work, did it bring up, personal feelings of awe? Did it intimidate you? What was your internal dialogue while you were there? Were you?
Well, I felt super proud of folks who could get up and just do their thing, however it looked for them. I was super proud of them. I thought that's so cool that they can do that. The other challenge, though, is that we're all human. So you did come across a lot of people with big egos. And so that was an area like where it offers you an opportunity to release them to their journey and not take anything personal. Because there was a lot of folks who had big egos and, as you would find in any big group of people, but everybody there would be like, everybody there are all very, very experienced readers, very experienced mediums. And so you have to, and where some folks did not, check their ego at the door, because it's a great place to celebrate others' accomplishments and the ability to step in and in that in between and bring those messages in so beautifully and clearly. It's a great place to celebrate that for others. But some felt that they wanted to compete. So that can make it challenging for you. So their experience would be much different than mine, and others who were able to go and just love and celebrate each other. And
right.
Move in that.
Do you think, especially after going somewhere like that, like you said, there is ego there, and there's different types of things going on, different people having their own experience there. Do you think that shows like Long Island Medium, do you think those kinds of things are a service or a disservice to working mediums? Because I think it can be a service in that it exposes everybody to mediumship, but it also is a very sterilized version where there's no mistakes. Nothing is wrong.
Yeah.
Everything's perfect. And I think that that's kind of the disservice. But what do you think?
That's a beautiful thing to bring up for everybody here, because it's important to know that those shows are they're edited. They cut out any all the things that would make it not. They need it to go smoothly. They need the hits. They need the ahas. They need it right then. They don't go through the whole journey with them, so you're missing the whole journey. So it's important as a reader or as a medium, when you do your work, to set it up for folks. Say, this is how I work, and it will not be like, if they have not been ever to a reading, it will not be like what you see on TV, because that's not realistic. It will be a journey, and we're in this together. This is a shared experience between you and I, like that. So it's important to set it up and make sure that you provide. But yeah, in that it can, because people will be disappointed if you're not like this, like
every single thing. Yeah. And it's not possible, as long as we're human, it's not really possible to be 100%, you're going to have, or you can just have a bad day too, because you're a human being, where the connection's not as, you have great days where it's just like, boom, boom, everything's just lining. And there can be a lot to do with that. Not just you, but it can be what's going on there. It could be the atmosphere, just the environment you're in. It can just be different. It could be the person you're reading for is cut off and doesn't want to know certain things. I mean, there's a lot that can, shift and move things the way that they kind of, where the outcome is. To end on, Debbie, I just want to ask you, what inspires you about being a mediumship, and also what challenges you about, what inspires you about being a medium, and what challenges you about being a medium?
Okay. So what inspires me is the ability to connect and bring a healing on such just a deeper level than I can't even explain it. So when you bring in, when I get to be that channel, that medium, that person, that in between, that can bring in a message that changes your life, brings that depth of healing, that's everything to me. And to bring you closer to your connection, to source, to the collective, to love, to what love is, that's everything to me. So that's what inspires me to experience that with folks. There's so much more than this density. And so to be able to be a part of bringing that message in, that's everything to me. What challenges me? I challenge. I think I get in my own way. I am my own worst challenge, and where old narratives can seep in, where I feel not enough or not worthy. If I get into those things, if I go down that web, I can I challenge not only me, but I challenge my connection if I'm in that energy. So, but that can seep in, because the world is pretty loud.
Yeah. And I think, when you have those doubts or those things that come in, working through them is so important, because, and I think this is, and I think this is important to say, because I think that people, that are not readers think that readers have a different type of experience that's different from theirs, but you still have those doubts or those worries or things creep in, and it's really important, just whether you're a reader or not, to kind of see where it's coming from, and remove that kind of limitation that you may have that is popping up for a reason, basically, is what I'm trying to say, and to be addressed. And your guides know this, right? They know that you're human and you're going to have these doubts and these worries, and they're not going to cut you off because of it. They want you to work through it, right?
They want you to release that, and they want you to see it. If it comes up, they're like, okay, here's some more to work on. Yay!
Yeah. Exactly. And I think I want to end on, I think we need to pull a card, for the week and see what comes up. But also, I love when you said you were talking about the mediums at the, people that kind of brought in their ego with them, that you release them to their journey. And I think that is such a great idea for what is happening in the country too, that you release people to their journey, give them the grace and space to kind of figure out stuff that they're going to have to figure out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Release them to their journey. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right. So a card for the week, everybody. I'm going to use this. These are oracle cards by Sonia Coquette. And they're called The Answer is Simple. So I'll just use those cards today. Although I use Debbie's cards all the time, and you should definitely get them. But yeah.
I think hi, Terry, holding your space. You were just on her channel last night, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yay, Terry. Okay. Oh. You're going to laugh. You want me to go, or you want to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Here's the picture. You are worthy.
Oh.
You are worth it all. So you are worthy. So I'm going to take the message for myself, but also because we're pulling it for the family here. Anybody, as you address this week, step into that, acknowledging that I am worthy. I am whole, I'm complete, I am not lacking, I am love, I am light. So you are worthy.
I love that. And you are worthy too. I got the spread the light.
Spread the light.
Look at that. And I love how it's in that trail, because that's exactly how it spreads, right? From one person to another person it's not an awakening all at once. It's souls awakening one by one. And then it becomes the collective. And when you share it, that's how it happens. That's how it happens.
Beautiful. Yes.
Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Oh, and Marcy's here from Spirit Made Me Do It. A lot of readers here and people with channels, and check them all out, please.
Check all the channels out.
And Debbie, what is anything coming up? Do you have classes? What are you doing right now that people can kind of look up or look into?
Well, we do have. I'm doing a class right now, but we are going to be opening up another class on mediumship if you're interested. I will be getting that information out, so keep checking back to my page. But coming up, Kevin and Jeffrey and myself are doing an afternoon of mediumship, and I feel like there's still openings, and so and if you go to my video, my Friday night video, this last one, it will be where to sign up for that is listed. So it's a Zoom event, afternoon of mediumship, if you're interested in that.
Oh, how fun. That sounds awesome.
That's coming up. And yeah, other than that, I'm going to be dropping some new videos, and just the same old Wednesdays and Fridays I'm on. Oh, Mondays I do animal communication and mediumship.
Oh, nice.
And so that's every Monday afternoon. And then Wednesdays, Inquiring Minds. And then Fridays, Newsflash Friday.
Nice. Well, thank you so much, Debbie, for coming on. I've missed you. I'm glad we could connect. And I know our schedules are kind of weird and crazy, but I'm glad we could do this. And everybody else, check out Debbie at Freebird Spirit. And I'm going to put the contact information to your website and then to your YouTube channel in the description. It'll just take me a second, but go ahead and look at that there and check her out. So thank you, everyone. Have a great Sunday and a great week.